Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. This is your Ralf Rangnick press conference reaction ahead of Manchester United's rearranged game against Brentford. So I'm going to give you all the questions he was asked and I'll give you his responses to them questions. So this was the first question. Good morning, Ralf. When you're looking to build winning momentum, is it difficult to do it on the pitch by playing 3 games in the week? Or would you rather have it on the training ground? Can you do it by playing games? Rangnick's response to the first question was, yes, obviously, we could. We also could before the league game against Aston Villa. For me, if I compare our 2 games in the Cup and the league, I think we did a lot better in the league game at Villa Park. The performance in the first 70 minutes was really good. I liked our movements. I liked our game in possession of the ball. The structure of the game, the way we pressed either in the first line or in the second line, even when we had to defend our own box in the first 70 minutes, we did that well. And this is what for me is the most important thing. We have to build on that, show a similar performance tomorrow at Brentford. But not only for 70 minutes, for 90, 95, 97, 98 minutes. However long the game will take, yes, we had yesterday and the day before yesterday 2 training sessions. We will have the final training session now in an hour's time, and then yes, as I say, we have to show a similar performance and a similar level that we showed against Villa for the whole game tomorrow. So that was his response to that question. This was the second question that was asked to him. Manchester United have not been to Brentford since 1947, which is a very long time. I think it shows the job that Thomas Frank has done to get a small club into the Premier League. What do you think of that job and how dangerous do you think they are in their own stadium? So Rangnick's response to that question was, yes, I think they've had some good results at home against top teams. It will not be an easy game. Nobody will expect this to be an easy game. But the same was true before we played Aston Villa at Villa Park. We showed we're up to that kind of standard and level. And as I said, we should have taken those 3 points. I think at the end we ran a little bit out of steam in the last 20 minutes. But in the first 70 minutes I was really pleased with the performance. So that was his response to that question. This was the next question that was asked to him. Just on team news front, will Marcus Rashford and Cristiano Ronaldo be available? And we also saw a picture of Paul Pogba training. We were expecting him back later, so will he be back sooner than you expected? So Rangnick's response to that question was, yeah, Cristiano and Marcus were training yesterday, so I suppose they will also train today. But in the press conference before the Villa game, I was also convinced Cristiano would be available, and he wasn't so. Like I say, we have to wait for the training session today in an hour's time. Right now, I think they could both be available. Paul Pogba had his first day of training with the whole group yesterday, and in the first training session he showed what kind of extraordinary player he could be. he will not be available for the 2 games this week, but hopefully after the international break, when we have the cup game against Middlesbrough and the away game at Burnley, I think he could be an option. So that was Rangnick's response to that question. So this was the next question that was asked to him. I just want to ask about Anthony Martial, what you said after the match at Aston Villa caught some headlines, and he posted on Instagram saying he would never not play for Manchester United if called upon. So what is the situation with him, and does he have a future under you at Manchester United? So his response to that question was, I'm here now for 6 weeks, and all the things that need to be said I said after in the press conference. I had a conversation with him on Sunday, and also a conversation about what happened and how I saw the whole situation. The matter is now resolved. He didn't train yesterday, and the day before yesterday. He will probably train today, and after training I will then take the decision if he is nominated or not. Let's see what will happen. So that was his response to that question. This was the next question. Can I ask you about Anthony Elanga? Why did you select him? What did you see in him? What does he bring? What's his personality like? So Rangnick's response to that question was, yes, he's a young player. He has enough pace. He has enough focus on the game from the very first training session. The day before the Crystal Palace game, he just showed me he was showing up in the training sessions, and yeah, that was the reason why I decided to play him at Villa Park. I think he did well. He showed me exactly what I expected him to deliver in that game. He's a very polite boy. He's doing the right things. He listens to what he should do, and he's trying to put all the effort into his performances. I was pleased with his performance in those 75 minutes he played. So that was his response to that question. This was the next question that was asked to him on Cristiano Ronaldo. He was honoured at the FIFA Awards last night. When you have a player of such exceptional talent, do you have to build the team around that one player, or is it the player that has to find a way to work in your system? So Rangnick's response to that was, one does not exclude the other. Of course, what he has done in his career so far is amazing. I mean, 800 goals in competitive games. Nobody has achieved that before in the last, 80 or 100 years. This shows what kind of player he is, what kind of exceptional player he is. He was not available in the last 2 games against Aston Villa. He trained again for the first time yesterday. He will probably train today again. And then we will have to see if he's an option for the game against Brentford tomorrow. But even with an outstanding Cristiano Ronaldo, we are talking about a team sport in one of the most competitive leagues in the world. Or the most competitive league in the world. And he cannot do things on his own. We can only improve and get better as a team. He is one important member of this team, and this is how we have to develop it. This was the next question. This is the second to last question of the press conference. It says, we've seen more Premier League games postponed this weekend. Can I get your views on that? Do you feel that the rule around those postponements is getting abused by some clubs? Rangnick's response was, I can only speak about our club here. We had some problems 4 weeks ago. Right now we don't have any issues. we have players available. We didn't have any COVID cases in the last couple of weeks. So, again, I cannot judge what happens in other clubs. And therefore, me, it's something the Premier League has to deal with, and they will do that in the best possible way. So that was his response to that question. This was the final question. It's obviously really positive news about Pogba. What do you make of him, and what's his best position? And also, can I ask, are there a club any closer to extending his contract? Rangnick's response was, I don't know. I cannot answer the second part of your question because it's not me dealing with this. I'm not negotiating about future contracts with players. But what you could see from the very first day in training yesterday is that he's present. He's physically present. He's mentally present. What I saw in training yesterday was very promising for the future, and I'm very much looking forward to having him available in 2 weeks' time after the international break, and I think he will be a serious candidate for the first 11. So that was his response to the final question. So that was absolutely everything that was mentioned in Ralf Rangnick's press conference today. By the way, Anthony Martial and Cristiano Ronaldo are part of the Man United squad for the game against Brentford. You know, Martial has just come back from a knee injury not so long ago. Earlier on today, I was talking with you about Anthony Martial. He says Anthony Martial has rejected loan offers from Newcastle and Tottenham. Martial wants to make a move abroad. Barcelona, Sevilla and Juventus are all linked. Don't forget, not so long ago, Martial denied claims that he refused to play against Aston Villa. Because obviously Rangnick came out and said that Martial refused to play against Aston Villa. But like I've just mentioned as I was going through what he said in the press conference, you know, Rangnick says the Anthony Martial matter has been resolved. Last year, Ralf Rangnick confirmed that Martial wants to leave Manchester United. Because last year Martial did hold talks with Rangnick over his future, and last year Martial's agent confirmed that Martial wants to leave Man United this month. Obviously Martial is demanding more game time. He's getting nowhere near enough game time at Manchester United. The best season he enjoyed at Man United was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Manchester United paid the initial fee of $36 million for Martial from Monaco back in 2015. Martial has been at Man United for 7 years. He's under contract with the club until 2024. Martial scored 79 goals in 268 appearances in all competitions. And Ronaldo, obviously he's recently been out with a hip injury. Obviously missed Manchester United's last 2 games. Last week, like I updated you, Cristiano Ronaldo gave an interview and he said that Ralf Rangnick will do a good job at Manchester United. And Ronaldo also said, I'm not at Man United to compete for 6th or 7th, and he said finishing below 3rd is unacceptable. You know, since Ronaldo re-signed for Man United, he's scored 14 goals in all competitions and he's got over 800 goals in his career. You know, Man United re-signed Ronaldo last summer for 20 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2023. There's an option of a further year. Ronaldo receives £480,000 a week and Ronaldo wears a number 7 shirt. Ronaldo is the best player in the world overall. He's won over 30 trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. Ronaldo will leave the club I think, if Man United fail to improve. Revert back to earlier on this season, Ronaldo held crisis talks with his agent George Mendes about his future, and it said if Ronaldo doesn't like Man United's next manager, he will leave. The other week, Ronaldo was targeted by PSG. Obviously, Paul Pogba is missing this game against Brentford, and he will be missing the game against West Ham at the weekend, but after that he will be back, which is good news from a Man United perspective. It was only the other week Rangnick provided us with an injury update on Pogba. He said Pogba was going to be out for at least another 4 weeks. You know, the Sun said last month that Man United offered Paul Pogba a new £500,000 a week contract that would have made him the highest paid player in Premier League history, but Pogba came out and denied that Man United offered him that new contract. Pogba's out of contract at Man United in the summer. There's a chance he'll leave the club in the summer. And Wan-Bissaka, he's not available at the moment because he has been out with COVID. Well, he's not our first choice right back anyway under Rangnick. Diego Dalot is our first choice right back under Rangnick. Eric Bailly is not available at the moment because he's at the African Cup of Nations. The last game Eric Bailly played for Manchester United was the 3-1 win against Burnley. That was the final game of last year. Bailly came off injured in that game, didn't he? Don't forget. And Bailly is injury prone, which is a concern. Eric Bailly will be leaving Manchester United this year. DiMarzio said the other week that Eric Bailly agreed to join AC Milan. AC Milan want him on loan. And Bailly said he's extremely interested in a move to Italy. We might as well offload Eric Bailly. You know, he lost his place in the team a while ago, obviously with Man United signing Varane last summer, and for some reason Victor Lindelof's been preferred to Bailly. Bailly's made 113 appearances for Man United in all competitions, only scored the 1 goal. That came against Swansea a few years ago. Got Bailly from Villarreal back in 2016. Manchester United paid 30 million for him. So Bailly's been at the club for around 6 years now. Back in April last year, he signed a new contract with Man United until 2024. Amad Diallo, you know, he's at the African Cup of Nations. Man United are loaning him out. Marcus Rashford recently picked up a leg injury. I think Rashford has travelled for this game. I don't want Rashford to play anyway because Marcus Rashford has been very, very poor since he had that operation on his shoulder. You know, he hasn't been the same player. You know, he missed the first 2 months of this season with that shoulder injury. And was it last week, you know, Ralf Rangnick did admit that he doesn't know why Marcus Rashford is struggling, because he did say the other week that Rashford looks very good in training. He said not so long ago that Marcus Rashford prepares to open contract talks with Man United. Rashford has 18 months left on his current £200,000 a week deal. Rashford has made 286 appearances for Man United in all competitions. Reports from Spain said earlier on this season that Rashford could leave Man United as Barcelona and PSG were said to be interested. But Rashford has been part of the club for a long time, came up our academy, he's been a United player since the age of 7 and he broke into our senior squad back in 2016. Manchester United are coming into this game against Brentford on the back of a 2-2 draw against Aston Villa. You know, Manchester United threw a 2-goal lead away against Aston Villa last weekend. You know, like Rangnick mentioned in his press conference, you know, Man United were dominant for 70 minutes, but I thought in the final 20 minutes of the game it was all Aston Villa. You know, Aston Villa were pushing for that winning goal. Both of Manchester United's goals against Aston Villa came from Bruno Fernandez. The first goal from Bruno Fernandez was through an horrendous mistake by the Aston Villa goalkeeper Martinez, and the second goal from Fernandez was from an horrendous mistake from Morgan Sanson. I gave you the news, didn't I, on Bruno Fernandez yesterday? The Athletic said that Bruno Fernandez rejected a contract offer at Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes' contract talks are postponed until the summer, having turned down an offer last year. Bruno Fernandes is demanding similar money to the top earners. Fernandez receives £100,000 a week at the moment. He's under contract to Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further 12 months. He has been linked to Barcelona as Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes, he's one of our best players and he's certainly one of the best signings we made since Ferguson retired. Fernandes has been a Man United player for 2 years, got him from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. Aston Villa's goals last weekend came from Jacob Ramsey. That was his first goal at Villa Park, and the other goal came from Philippe Coutinho. You know, Philippe Coutinho came off the bench and scored on his Aston Villa debut. But I was disappointed with that draw against Villa last weekend because it was 2 points dropped. We had to win that game against Villa. Brentford, they haven't done too well recently. Brentford have lost their last 2 league games. They lost last weekend to Liverpool 3-0. You know, this season has been Brentford's first ever season in the Premier League. Prior to this season, the last time they were in the top flight was back in 1947. That's over 70 years ago now. Brentford are sitting 14th in the Premier League at the moment. I think they've enjoyed a pretty good season though, to their standards. You know, I didn't expect them to do as well as they have done. You know, they have beaten some good teams this season. You know, they beat Arsenal 2-0 on the opening day. And obviously they got a draw against Liverpool at the Brentford Community Stadium. You know, that was a 3-3. Brentford's manager is Thomas Frank. He's been Brentford manager for over 3 years now. His contract at Brentford expires next year. Before he was the manager of Brentford, you know, he was the Brentford assistant. Before then, Thomas Frank managed Bromby, and before then, he managed Denmark's under-16s, Denmark's under-17s, and Denmark's under-19s. I do know quite a few of the players that Brentford have got. Obviously, the best player Brentford have got is Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney had COVID earlier on this season. They've got Brian Mbeumo. That's a very good attacking player. They also have Sergi Canos, who's a good midfielder. They've got Tariki Fosu. he's an attacking player. He's out with injury at the moment. They've got Max Haygarth, who's an attacking player. They also have Marcus Fors. They've got Christian Norgard, Shandon Baptiste, who's good. They've got Joe Valencia. They've got Joshua De Silva. He's out with injury. They've got Charlie Good. He's also out with injury. They've got Ethan Pinnock. He had COVID earlier on this season. They've got Frank Onyeka. He's not available for Brentford at the moment because he's at the African Cup of Nations. They've got Zanka. Zanka's obviously out with injury. They also have Pontus Jansson. He's a defender. He's a former Leeds United player. They have Rico Henry. He's just come back from injury. They've also got Finn Stevens. One of the goalkeepers Brentford have got is David Raya, and he's out with injury. So they are quite a few of the players that Brentford have. Let me put into the equation, Brentford lost Ollie Watkins, and they also lost Ben Rama. Manchester United's next game after Brentford is West Ham. West Ham is this Saturday. That's going to be a tough game. Now, obviously, you know the news on the transfers. There's been a lot of rumours coming out about Amadou Haidara recently. Man United have verbally agreed a 33 million fee to sign Amadou Haidara. Ralf Rangnick held talks with RB Leipzig Chiefs. Amadou Haidara said he dreams of playing in England and Man United is his favourite club. Haidara informed his close friends that he wants to join Manchester United. Newcastle have also been in for him. Amadou Haidara has a 33 million release clause. He's under contract with Leipzig until 2025. He's been at RB Leipzig since 2019. So he's been with them over 2 years now. Before Leipzig, he had a loan spell with Liefering, and before then, he was at Red Bull Salzburg. Amadou Haidara is 23 years of age and he's a midfielder. Rangnick did mention earlier on this season that, he wanted Amadou Haidara as his first sign as Man United manager. Rangnick knows the player well. And yesterday I gave you the news on John Mcginn. The Telegraph said that Man United target Aston Villa midfielder John Mcginn in the summer transfer window. Aston Villa value John Mcginn at 40 million. Sir Alex Ferguson and Darren Fletcher are admirers of the player. John Mcginn is probably one of the best players Villa have got. He didn't play any part in the 2-2 draw last weekend because he was suspended. John Mcginn is a midfielder. He's 27 years of age, so reflecting on that, he's highly experienced. He's been at Villa for 3.5 years. He's got a contract with Aston Villa till 2025. He's played 129 games for Villa and he's scored 16 goals. Villa got Mcginn from Hibernian, and at one point Mcginn played at St Mirren. Man United have also been linked with Dennis Zakaria from Borussia Mönchengladbach, and revert back to the other week, there was a lot of narratives coming out about Tariq Lamptey from Brighton. Ralf Rangnick, he's already under pressure at Manchester United, and he's been Man United's interim manager for only, 6 weeks. You know, when we first got Rangnick in, it said, yeah, he is Man United's interim manager till the end of the season, and it did initially say that Rangnick will continue in a consultancy role for a further 2 years. If Man United don't finish in the top 4 this season, Rangnick won't get the consultancy role. Revert back to the other week, there was reports coming out saying that Rangnick is already losing the dressing room at Man United, and it did mention that 17 Manchester United players are unhappy with Rangnick and want to leave. But despite that, Rangnick got told that transfer funds are available this month, so reflecting on that, the Glazers will be backing him. There's been some good performances under Rangnick, there's been poor performances as well. Rangnick's lost 1 game so far as Manchester United manager. Man United lost to Wolves 1-0 at Old Trafford. And that was the first time Wolves won at Old Trafford since 1980. Rangnick won't get the Man United job on a permanent basis. Before Man United, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. He's made some changes, Rangnick. Earlier on this season he brought Ewan Sharp in as an assistant coach and analyst. He also brought Chris Armas in as an assistant coach, and he brought Saz Chalens in as a sports psychologist. Recent reports have said that Man United could yet appoint their new manager this season. Who will Manchester United's next manager be? I think there's a very good chance that Mauricio Pochettino will be Man United's next permanent manager. There again, earlier on this week, it said Man United could miss out on Mauricio Pochettino. Despite Pochettino being Man United's number 1 target, the Telegraph said Man United face competition for Pochettino. Revert back to was it last week, reports in France said that Man United were in secret contact with Pochettino, despite Pochettino not being Ralf Rangnick's preferred choice to take over at Manchester United. The Manchester Evening News said earlier on this season that Pochettino's move to Man United was almost done and Pochettino will leave PSG by June. These United fans that would like to see Erik ten Hag become the next manager. Last weekend, reports from Italy said that Man United made an approach for Simone Inzaghi from Inter Milan. Man United are looking for the 5th permanent manager since Ferguson. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. We sacked David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and last year Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, see you all again very soon.